We are live. Hello!
Hello.
Hello, virtual online oil checkers.
Coming through your broadband.
This is unprecedented in the world of the oil check. We are live and we are visual. So
yes, by popular demand.
Chris Scadden begged for us to be online and visual, and I believe the phrase might be careful what you fucking wish for. So
exactly, yeah.
The oil check under lockdown proceedings. It is the oil check, the Rona special. That is the headline of today's show. We are going to be talking about all things MMA and shit and the Rona and lockdown, which has spawned very, 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 very much topical, retarded stuff to talk around. So, first things first, Joe. Remember, we are sponsored by Top Gun Tattooing of number 12, the Harris Arcade in Reading.
Should be some words coming up here.
Yeah, hopefully, if we can get the technical pixies working properly, we're going to try and stick all that along the bottom. So basically, Top Gun Tattooing is obviously closed during the lockdown. However, if anyone of you follows me on social media, I actually shared a video earlier today. They are currently undergoing a renovation in Top Gun Tattooing, and they're taking this lockdown time to improve the facilities within the tattoo shop. So they've actually, because they've always had, there's a downstairs and an upstairs, and they've actually just taken another part upstairs and they've broken through a wall in the shop and arcade, and now they've improved the amount of space within the tattoo shop. So, as always, you can contact Top Gun Tattooing on 01189 968 667 or go to their website www.topguntattoo.co.uk. And remember, you as a loyal listener and now watcher of the oil check, you will be able to get a discount on your tattoo by going into the shop when it is reopened and obviously observing all social distancing protocols, or by contacting them by telephone or email. And like I say, the person that you need to ask for is Zach. So Zach Farley, who is one of the tattooists there at Top Gun Tattooing, and you must say to him, you must say, Zach, can I put my finger in your arsehole? And if he says yes, which he should do because he's a dirty bastard, if he says yes, then you will receive a discount off the cost of your award-winning tattoo at Top Gun Tattooing in Reading. And they are the sponsors of the oil check. And as always, if you want to contact us here at the oil check, you can do so by telephone. I actually have the hotline right here.
Wow. That's the no expenses spared on our technology.
Exactly, no expenses spared. This is the top Tesco's mobile oil check phone hotline, and the hotline for the oil check is 07510 954 793. So you can telephone or text us on 07510 954 793. You can email us on theoilcheck@hotmail.com, and you can contact us on all forms of social media, Twitter, Instagram and Facebook at the oil check. So that is us, the Oil Check podcast. Obviously, we've had a bit of a break because you were a bit of a lazy cunt, weren't you?
Me?
Yes, you.
Yes. Yeah, no, I ended up having to do a lot of work the last, just after we last stopped. So time.
I'm putting all of the blame on you. That was all your fault.
Yeah, fine. I'll take the blame. But if this goes well, we might do some more. So we need more content. So if you do want to get in touch, give us some ideas and things to talk about. That's what we need.
Exactly. Now, so obviously, earlier this year, we were banging out a few podcasts and things were going pretty well. And then you became a bit of a prick and were being really lazy about uploading and stuff like that. And then obviously, we then came into lockdown, and we've been in lockdown for what, 2 months now, something like that, 6 weeks. So, obviously, as you can tell, my motivation levels around this subject are pretty low already. But then the prospect of having to listen to you respond to what I'm about to say actually makes my arsehole pulsate a tiny little bit. Joe.
Yeah.
What have you been doing recently?
Very little.
This is the only time that's actually an
I can get away with it now.
It's the only time you can say, what have you been doing? Fuck all. And I go, oh, all right, I get that. Yes. Yeah. Been doing fuck all the same as everybody else.
Exactly. So, actually, I've been doing a few things. I mean, I've because I work from home anyway. That's nothing's changed, so I've been carrying on working as normal. So that's all I've been doing, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've been doing your Italian lessons online, though, haven't you?
Yeah. Some Italian lessons are now changed to doing on Zoom and Skype. Do 2 a week now, so that's going pretty well. Yeah.
How are you getting on with that? Are you still a mezza fanuc?
I'm getting on okay with it. I don't tend to do much of the homework, so that would make me a little bit better. But you know me, I'm very lazy. So.
All right. So I've just got a message from our guest today.
Yeah.
Who told me that they had a few beers inside them. And now they're on the wine, so we're probably going to get some interesting answers. And he said, "Is this audio only or video?" So I'm just replying saying it's video. He's probably oh, for fuck's sake. Anyway, let us. Why not? But in fact, let's wait a second. Let's keep our listeners and watchers now at bated breath. So, apart from your Italian lessons, bit of work, lockdown. Anything else been happening within the Penneck household?
Very little. I mean, we did a virtual beer festival yesterday. Normally, this bank holiday weekend every year is normally Reading Beer Festival, and obviously that's been cancelled this year. So this year we did an online one, which we did yesterday afternoon, and I'm feeling rather worse for wear today.
So basically, you sat in your house and got pissed on Zoom and chatted shit to people.
Yeah, well, we all chose a beer selection pack, 15-pack of British beers. From various craft breweries. We all chose the same pack so we could work through them together throughout the day. Pork scratchings, bottles of mead, all good. Yeah. Not good this morning, though.
Did you drink all 15 beers?
Not quite. I think I bailed out about 9 o'clock last night. I was done in, proper done in.
You started like 2, didn't you?
Started at 2, yeah.
So you were online for 7 hours getting battered.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who was in this? Was it Wellesley and Phil and
all the usual lot? Yeah, Wellesley, Phil, Si, Jules. Jules. About sort of 10, 15 of us, I guess, for most of the day, and a few people sort of dipped in and out.
Ah.
But getting out of bed today's been a struggle. So. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we managed to get you around the this time of the afternoon. So it was about 4:30 when we started. It's now 10 to 5. Saturday afternoon, and again, one of the reasons for this special edition of the Oil Check is that this evening it'll be the first UFC back during the Rona. So we're going to be talking all things UFC. Personally, pretty much the same. Obviously, I was training very heavily for my what would have been my upcoming boxing match. And then I decided that it was going to be a good idea to do some sparring with an absolute monster in the gym 2 weeks before my fight. And my fucking face caved in.
Mm-hmm. So you fractured your orbital around here, didn't you?
No, it was underneath. So
underneath, sorry,
underneath. So it was there. So basically, I took a fucking dig straight to the boat there, and it was like from this point here, all under there, all got fractured. And I'll get close up. You can see that. I mean, fair play to the doctors. The stitching that they did was like microscopic. It was like proper, you know, not like shit that you'd get on your arm or whatever.
Yeah.
So it was, you know, there's a lot of people have been like, I can't even see it. I don't even know that it doesn't even look like anything happened to me. But again, I shared it all on my social media. So if you go to my Instagram, andy.sledge, you can see where I showed the CT scan of my skull with the titanium plate. So I had a titanium plate.
Put a link up to that.
Yeah, put into my eye socket there.
Yeah.
And
well, I came round to see you the day after, and you blew your nose, didn't you?
Yeah.
And it went.
that was the day. That was the day off.
That was the same day, was it? Oh yeah, you just got home afterwards. That's right. Yeah.
And again, this is our guest. So our guest is again sending me questions. So basically, I did it on the Sunday. You came round to check up. And and when I blew my nose, it was like when Cowboy fought fucking Tony Ferguson.
Yeah.
The ball blew up like that.
Yeah.
And I thought, ooh, fuck! I thought I better go and get that checked out. So the next day, I went down to the A&E department, and obviously this was just when the virus had started kicking off.
It's early March, wasn't it?
Yeah, mid-March. It was like the second week of March. It was like it was so. What was it? It was. Probably work out exactly.
It was probably the week before lockdown, wasn't it, or 2 weeks before lockdown?
So it would have been the 15th of March, because it was exactly, that was right. It was 2 weeks before my fight, so I was supposed to be fighting on the 28th of March.
Yeah.
So 15th of March, that's when I got things. So I went to A&E on the Monday the 16th.
Yeah.
So they're really good. I mean, I was shitting myself, so obviously I've gone down there with fucking mask and gloves on, and obviously based on what we'd seen in the news and what have you, they were like, it's fucking fucking panic, and I've expected like walk into the hospital and everyone to be like in fucking hazmat suits. Well, this is a 2319. This is a 2019. And like, you know, for it to be overrun and mobbed. And I was thinking, fuck, man, I'm going to be sat there for 12 hours catching the Rona. And literally, I walked into the A&E department in Reading, and it was fucking empty. I was like, there was only like 3 people in there. And was straight in. Doctor was fantastic. And then made me, sent me for a CT scan. And then I've gone upstairs, and the blokes, like, basically sent me to the eye place to get me out. So basically there was 2 things. There was my face and my eye. And there's 2 separate departments look after each thing. So I've gone to the eye place to get my eyeball checked out to make sure I'm not blind. And it was the eye doctor took a look at the CT scan, and he went, yeah, you've got several fractures there. You're going to have to go to the maxillofacial place in Oxford. So then for the next day, I had to go up to the John Radcliffe in Oxford.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, you've got several fractures. You're going to need to have an operation. So basically what happened is, because the bottom of my eye socket got smashed, so my eyeball moved backwards and downwards in my head. So like that's like my normal eye was there and this eye was down there.
Yeah, it made a gap for it, didn't it?
Yeah. So then the following week I went in and had the operation. And I mean, they were absolutely brilliant. You know, obviously it was, you know, under the NHS, and they, you know, haven't got enough good things to say about how they handled the entire situation, and you know, particularly under the stress of the Rona. So yeah, it was amazing. And then so I got out, and and then I basically spent the last 6 weeks putting back on all of the weight that I lost for the fight. So
well, that started the very next day, didn't it? Because after you went to the hospital, I met you in town, and we went to TGI's, and you managed to gorge yourself silly.
We did, but then like that basically hasn't stopped since.
Yeah.
And so I was 121 kilos on New Year's Day, and I got down to 108. So that was like 13 kilos, which is about which is plus like minus obviously there was a couple of like a kilo of muscle or two there as well. So it was basically I lost about 30 pound. Yeah, and then I proceeded to put it all back on. Weighed myself today back up to 121 kilos. So, yes, big fat cunt. So I'm absolutely devastated with that. But they're talking about the show being rescheduled for November. Whether that be true or not, that's my thing in my head. So I've got 6 months to get back on it. So
hopefully that will happen, and it'll give you good motivation to get back in the gym and get rid of it again.
Well, don't tell anyone.
Oh, yeah.
I had a little bit of training. I actually went and did a little bit of training today. So the first rule about Fight Club is we don't talk about Fight Club, but somewhere in the Berkshire area, a friend of mine has access to a facility and granted me access to that facility. So I was allowed to go in and hit some bags and stuff like that. So I actually got a bit of a workout in today. However, there is also one of those outdoor gyms in the park over the road from me. And apparently it's the only outdoor gym in the country that isn't taped off. Everyone's saying that everyone's going, oh, they're surrounded, like they're all taped off. People aren't supposed to use them. And I'm like, what? Something outside in direct sunlight that's fucking, that's healthy for you. So anyway, it's working. It's not that good. I mean, it's better than nothing. There's some parallel bars. There's some chin-up bars. Obviously, I'm too fucking weak and fat to do chin-ups. But they've got the machines. So they've got a couple of leg presses, and they've got one chest press and one like lat pull down. Like it's like a pull in. Yeah. Yeah. But what I didn't realize is they work on your body weight.
Yes.
So you sit down on the chair and you press out like that, and your chair rises up like that. So the chest press is actually quite a good workout because obviously it's based on body weight. I'm a fat cunt. So like the chest press is really, really good. But apart from that, it's like the chest pulling, like the pull down, it's a bit unstable. When you pull it down, your seat goes up, and it's like the motion isn't like a kind of motion. Whereas on the chest press, the motion's quite a fluid motion. You know what I mean? And they've got like an elliptical, like a cross trainer there. Again, there's no resistance on it though, so it's just. It's just basically moving your arms back and forwards, but it's good for a bit of a warm up. And then I bought a sledgehammer for me and the kid to do some swings in the back garden. I'm waiting for a mate of mine to drop me a tyre round.
Yeah.
Kid's got a kettlebell as well. So, I'm getting out in the back garden and doing a bit with the boy, but it's the diet. Oh man, the diet, man. I just seem to be eating fucking chocolate.
And the boardom as well. It's just sitting around all day, isn't it?
Yeah, so I just seem to be eating fucking chocolate and cake for every fucking meal, which is absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, we're going to try and start losing weight again. So, a couple of things. So obviously watched a lot of TV. Have you been?
Yeah, what have you been watching?
Right, so the two, I mean, I've watched loads of shit. I've started watching that Bates Motel, which is like the prequel to Psycho.
Yeah.
Saw some of that. I started watching that the Money Heist, La Casa de Papel.
Oh yeah.
Spanish thing on Netflix. It's quite good. I watched about a series of that. There's 4 series. However, the thing that really got me, there were 2 things, but I'm sure that you are also. You may or may not have watched it, but I know you'll be a fan. So number 1 is La Immortale. Have you actually watched it yet?
I haven't watched it yet. No.
Okay. So La
Immortale. Too busy at the moment.
La Immortale is the the spin-off of Gamora, and it's all about Chiro. So obviously, if you haven't watched Gamora, then you're a fucking, spoiler alert in 3, 2, 1. So, end of series 3, Chiro gets shot. Like Jenny kills Chiro and throws him into the water. Well, I'm here to break it to you people. Dun, dun, dun. Chiro doesn't die.
He's the immortale.
He's the immortal. Hence the name La Immortale. And but so it goes on about what happens to him after that, but also then goes back to what happened to him earlier in his life as well. So like it showed how he grew up, how he became a criminal, you know, and then how he joined the Camorra in Naples, and you know, so obviously he started working for you know, Chiro's
Savastano clan.
Yeah, he started working for Pietro Savastano at a very, very early age. You know, so he was, you know, by the time the first series of Gomorrah starts, he'd been with Pietro Savastano. You know, so he was an orphan, had no parents, and you know, grew up within the criminal fraternity. So you know, it's very, very interesting. And obviously, if you're a fan of Gomorrah, it's brilliant. So I watched that. But also, have you seen 000?
No, not yet. That's the other Roberto Savastano thing, isn't it?
No, well, no, yeah.
Based on his book? Is that a book?
Yeah, Saviano.
Saviano, yeah.
Yeah. So, so the author of Gomorrah is Roberto Saviano, and he also wrote a book called 000. So 000 is the slang expression for pure cocaine.
Yeah, you were reading the book when we were last in Florence.
Aye. So again, like the actual Gomorrah book, it's a bit heavy going. So it's not like the books are not stories. The books are factual, and it's like it's a record of all of the criminal activity within the cocaine trade across the world. So you know, it's a bit like, and then he did this, and then he did this, and then he killed him, and then they moved this ton of cocaine, and then because he moved this ton of cocaine, it upset him, so he killed him, and it's a bit like, oh, fucking hell.
It's like a logbook of what happened.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those ones that, like, you know, it's not a story. You could easily throw it away, but it was like a bit of a challenge read. You know what I mean? I thought, fucking hell, if I'm gonna, like, once I'd started it, I thought, right, I've got to see it through. And obviously, the 000, there's a lot of it about the Mexican drug cartels. So if you've watched Narcos and Narcos Mexico, then there's a lot of like similar stuff, like facts about there. And also, if you've watched the documentary Cocaine Cowboys about all of the Colombians in Miami and stuff like that. So a lot of it I already knew, but again, it was like sort of weaving it in. And so, like I say, 000 is a grade of flour. So 000 is the finest grade of flour that they use to make fucking pizza or whatever they use, or pasta. I think it's the pasta flour in Italy. So because like the 000 is the best quality of flour, they use that as the slang expression for the pure cocaine that comes in direct from Mexico, Colombia, whatever. So again, in the same way that the book Gomorrah is just like a log of crimes committed by the Camorra, and it's fucking pretty heavy going of a read, 000 is the same, in the fact that the TV show it's got the same name, and it's about the cocaine trade, but it's, you know,
dramatized version of it.
Yeah, but there's absolutely no relation between the TV show and the book apart from the name. But the TV show is fantastic. So it's again, you know, it's about the different fractions. There's a bit of it set in Italy, which is about it's about the mafia boss in Italy who's ordered the coke. It's about the Mexican drug cartel who's sending the coke, and it's about the middleman who's transporting it from Mexico to Italy. And obviously it's all fucking, they're all trying to kill each other and fucking stab each other in the back and fucking steal the gear and fucking, and it's like, they go on, it's a bit of a fucking journey. So you follow the progress of the shipment of coke from Mexico across the border, across the sea, into Africa, and then it goes through Africa, up through Africa, and then into Europe. And obviously along the way, everyone's trying to steal it. Everyone's trying to kill you. It's pretty fucked up. But yeah, real fucking good, real good fucking TV show. And obviously, so some of it's in English, some of it's in Spanish, some of it's in Italian. So yeah, you've got to get your subtitles on there. But yes, well worth a watch.
I'll get around to that at some point. I've done Gomorrah. I haven't watched L'Immortale yet, but I'll watch 000 at some point as well. So yeah, cool, all good.
So, news and shit. So, so
what's been going on?
Right. So, well, what do you expect within this fucking world?
I reckon. So as always, as I say, as always, I don't know what you're going to come up with in this part of the show, because you come up with some news stories for us to talk about, and as usual, cunts of the week. Yeah. I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of cunts of the week going on at the moment.
There is, but I was actually, in fact, I tell you what, at this point, let us bring in our guest.
Yeah, okie doke.
So our guest for today's Oil Check Rona special is none other than old school MMA Darragh Creamer. Now, Darragh, who, aka his forum name was Drock, D-R-O-C, Drock, which are his initials by all accounts. So me and Darragh have been friends for a long time, probably somewhere in the region of around 18 years. And he's he used to commentate on the early Cage Warriors and stuff like that.
So are we going to go through the card with him, or just have a chat?
No, we'll bring him on and we'll do.
Should we do the UFC and then do all of it? Yeah.
Do everything with him. So right, let me.
Okay.
Right, here we go. Right. So we're just calling Darragh now. Again, our viewers will have to forgive the potential here. Hey! It's Drock, everyone.
What's the story, buddy? How you getting?
Son, how you doing? So literally, we were just trying to introduce you there. So obviously we were explaining who you are, because there was a bit of a complaint on Facebook yesterday that you used to be somebody.
It wasn't a complaint. I actually was somebody.
Tell us who you are, Drock.
So who was I is a far more accurate question to begin with. So let me see. I was one time an MMA fan that managed to blag my way into commentating on Cage Warriors, commentating on John Kavanagh's Ring of Truth, getting a job as a freelance journalist for the UFC, and becoming editor-in-chief of Fight Sport magazine with 0 qualifications.
Was that actually in French, that magazine, or was it because you were based in Paris at the time, weren't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot to mention I also was agent for a shitload of French fighters and put 2 or 3 of them in the UFC.
Yeah.
And no qualifications to that either. Totally blagged my way through it. Yeah,
so again, I mean, like, you know, we both come from the old school, and I was actually chatting to it about someone the other day, saying that if people don't know you, your former handle from the Cage Warriors or SF, even more going back, the SF UK. So if you can't claim that people can say to you, you are whatever your forum name is from SF UK, you are fucking nobody. You're a fucking nobody.
So fucking blow-ins, newbies.
Yeah, fucking noobs, mate. Absolutely. Yeah, fucking noobs. Makes me sick. Makes me absolutely sick.
They think they know. They didn't fucking drive around the 37 roundabouts in Milton Keynes just to get to one of Lee Asdale's shows.
Oh yeah. I remember that. Well, this is it. So I was saying that you and I, we've probably known each other for about 17, 18 years.
Something like that.
So the first event that we worked together was Cage Warriors 4, which was in the Guildhall in Portsmouth. So that was the very first event that I ever emceed. And on that event, I think it was Emmanuel Fernandez was fighting.
That's right, yeah.
And I think because it was that was right, because it was France versus the UK, wasn't it? So I think, who else did you have on there? Did you have, was it Laurent Bonnefoy? I can't remember who else was on there.
It wasn't originally meant to be a France versus thing. It just kind of happened that way in that
end. And you had people available.
Pretty much, yeah. Like French guys were all very keen to fight because they couldn't fight in France, and right up until right now, that's still the case. It's the sport has only just been recognised in France in the last few months, so they're going to be able to fight in France now. So any opportunity they got, especially back then, they would just jump on it. So you had guys like Manu, the Chiervo brothers, Maurice Rambon, and they would accept a fight at the last second. The best guy for that, the absolute best guy for that was Maurice Rambon.
Yeah.
You remember Moise?
I do, yeah.
So Moise, I'll tell you a story because I'm about 4 beers to the good already, and I'm drinking wine now. So expect stories.
That's what we're here for.
That's what we expect from guests.
So, Moise, I got a call, I think, on a Thursday, looking for a heavyweight. Now, Moise was a light heavyweight who also fought a middleweight a couple of times. But at this particular time, I don't know, he had been a bit slack with his food, so he was a bit fat. And he says, okay, yeah, I'd fight heavyweight to fight Tengiz. You remember Tengiz?
Yeah,
I know, right.
Very dangerous wrestler.
Yeah, absolute fucking monster. Tengiz was a beast. But Moise goes, yeah, okay, no problem, Darragh. Yeah, cool. Now, Moise was like that. He was the chillest fucker you've ever met in your life. The dude wore sunglasses. Now, all right, I know a lot of people have turned around. Those dudes that wear sunglasses indoors and all that. Now, he wore sunglasses indoors, but because he actually had an eye problem, you know. But he was so fucking chill. It was unbelievable. So he turns around to me and goes, yeah, I'll take that fight. And I says, okay, cool. We'll fly out tomorrow, do the weigh-in, and then...
Faut boire délicatement.
Ok. Là, je suis sur un podcast.
Ah, pardon.
I'm glad it's recorded. You can edit that out. Yeah. So he goes, no. He says, fuck this day before weigh-in shit. He says, fly me in the morning, I'll fight, and then fly me out the next day.
Savage.
Yeah. So like he'd accept fight at the last day's notice. I think he flew out to Japan on 2 days' notice and fought in a big event over there as well. Yeah. The dude was just, yeah, fuck it, I just like to fight.
But that was it. I mean, I do remember from the early days, you know, that was particularly, like I say, you know, if you ever had a pullout and you were desperate for a fighter, like obviously, you know, all the shows that we used to work together, if anyone ever, like a promoter would always come to me and say, oh, I need someone, I'd be like, speak to Darragh. I would be like that, look, speak to the French guys. They'll always be able to bring somebody in, because like you say, because they weren't allowed to do it at home, they were desperate and they'd fucking jump at the chance. But you know, the thing is, you know, it's one of the, you know, there was a lot of very, very talented guys. You know, like obviously, you know, we've already spoke, you know, the Fernandez brothers, Frederick and Emmanuel. You know, both still good pals with those guys on Facebook and stuff. I actually went out to France to Cognac. Oh, it was like, what was it, about 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago? I don't know. Basically, Frederick puts a show on out there.
That's right. Yeah.
With those hybrid rules, the no contact, no headshots on the floor, and his usual MC wasn't available, so he actually flew me in, and it did obviously cost him quite a bit of dough. You know, he had to fly me in, put me in a hotel for 2 or 3 nights, and obviously, you know, pay me and what have you. You know, so it was good. Yeah, but you know, he's absolute sound. And obviously, my high school French that I still remember used to get me by. So yeah, it was good, man. You know, and I remember we all, like, a lot of the shows that we used to do, you know, like the night before, like after the weigh-ins, it would all be your slot, would be like me, to Fred, Emmanuel, and whoever else. We'd all go out for something to eat and stuff like that. And, you know, obviously Emmanuel was fighting, you know, fought at quite a high level and fought for title.
Are you going to tell the story about when he was there and he was sat at the table with Dave Elliott and everybody was really surprised because the French boys were all drinking beers?
Absolutely, yeah, that was in Barnsley. It was Cage Warriors in Barnsley. It was like Cage Warriors, 6 or 7 or 8 or something like that. And yeah, so there was me, you, Rob Butler, who got absolutely steamboat drunk.
Shocking.
Absolutely shocking. Dave Elliott, his boy Tyrone, who's now like a fully grown geezer and a black belt and he'll fuck you up. You know, Tyrone was like a fucking 9 years old or something like that. I mean, fuck me. So this was like, this must have been, 2004, something like that?
Jesus.
Yeah, 2004, something like that. And so like both Emmanuel and Frederick were both fighting the next day. And we sat down to have something to eat, and they both ordered a pint. And I'm like, what are you fucking doing, boys? And they're like, it helps me sleep, don't worry.
The face on Dave Elliott when he looked over and he saw the two boys, because like a lot of the UK guys, especially guys like Dave and that came from BJJ background as well, they were like amazed by Emmanuel, because Emmanuel, he was one of the first European BJJ black belts, and he took on Brazilian guys in BJJ competitions over in France and that. And I think the French, even though the MMA scene was well behind, the BJJ scene was a bit more ahead, because just more contact with Brazilians and shit like that, you know. So Dave was a little bit enamored with him, you know. So he's looking up and he's going, "Oh my God, these two boys are drinking beers here." And I remember, I'm pretty sure it was him that asked me. He was like shocked. He's like, "Are those two lads drinking beers?" He's like, yeah. So I, again, in my little role of translator / agent or whatever you want to call me at the time, I talked to the boys, and basically it was one, it helps them sleep, and two, it's great for recovery. But yeah.
Well, yeah, fucking, that was it, man. So yeah, so so you and I, we did a fair few shows together, and then we soon sort of discovered that we had similar proclivities when it came to after show drinking. So we decided that you and I would make very good room sharing partners, and
which wasn't always great for the guys in the room next to us.
What was it? That was that one in Barnsley, wasn't it? When we started, there was people banging on the walls and that, and we thought fucking Matt Ewan, and we were like, shit, he's gonna
shut the fuck up, or he'll come in here and fucking kill us. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically the format of the show is, mate, we're going to talk about some of the things in the news, and obviously if there's anything, right, we've got a particular section that we like to call Cunts of the Week. So if there's anything in particular that's getting on your fucking nerves right now, and you want to single someone out for a good fucking verbal rating, and feel free. And
this is your platform.
Yeah, so we're going to do news and shit, and then news and shit. We're then going to move on to MMA and shit. So then we'll talk about MMA related stuff. Now, obviously, there's not that much at the moment because obviously the lockdown, but we're going to try. So the thing is obviously in the news, I brought up the Google News thing, and basically out of the 20 links on the Google News thing, 18 of them were basically lockdown related shit. So it's not exactly the greatest news, but obviously, so the major news story is the Rona. However, the cunts of the week, and there are many of them. And
I think so. There must be many cunts of the week going on at the moment over the last few cunts of the last few weeks, I guess.
Yeah, cunts of the last few weeks. So anything conspiracy related, the fucking Rona. So anyone who's questioning anything to do with 5G, and anyone who's questioning anything to do with the Rona, with it regarding like where they're going, it's the government fucking forcing us to stay at home so they can change the batteries in the birds. You know, that kind of fucking shit. So, out of all of the retarded fucking stories that you've heard, is there any one story or one person in particular that's got your fucking hump recently?
I don't have any one in particular, just because there's so fucking many of them, you know, and they're all the same fucking shit. Like, if I was going to call somebody out, I would call it out as a group.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and say this in the least controversial way possible. It would be the whole of the conservative voting public of the United States.
Anyone that helped put Trump into power, yeah.
Not even so much that. I mean, yes, that's like an aspect of it or a symptom of it. I don't know, but it's like they're all standing going. And I keep seeing like things like, oh yeah, what about all of the people that are going to die because of the economy? Are their lives less important than the people that are going to die because of Corona? I'm like, that's not how it works.
Yeah. So my particular favorite one. So there was someone that, well, there's been a few people. And I've put this question to a few people, and someone's going, oh, you know, 5G, it's not safe, it's going to kill us all. And I'm like,
burning the towers as well.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, let's just say, for example, that 5G does give off radiation and is harmful to human beings.
Mm-hmm.
Where does the person that invented 5G live? Well, you'd probably assume that the person that invented it lives in a place where there's going to be 5G. So you're telling me that the person that invented it invented something harmful that he can send his children to school and they're going to get burnt up by a 5G tower on the way.
But so, not only that, in all of his experimentation that he did, while inventing it, testing it, and rolling it out, he managed to not die.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, so just like I said, so you're telling me that the person that invented 5G has invented something that would be harmful to himself and his family, and is happy for that to go out into the public. I'm like, really? And people don't, and it's like the chemtrail ones. It's the same with the chemtrails. People go, oh, chemtrails, they're pumping our fucking atmosphere full of poison. I'm like, so, but the person that put the poison in there lives in the world, don't they? So the world, so what they've done is they've got a big load of poison and they've put it up there to poison themselves and all of their friends and family.
All of these lads are living in a no-fly zone, Andy. Did nobody fucking tell you?
So they've got this special 5G, anti-5G bunker that they live in, and that means that they're never going to leave that, and they've burrowed under a mountain somewhere, and they're living in an anti-5G bunker under a mountain, and they're sitting in a big metal box going, ha, 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 while the rest of the world perishes with radiation. Is that what
your devious plan has come to fruition? Ha ha ha.
Yeah, innit? So basically, anybody, and this is like, and the other ones are like these are like all these people that are saying that 5G is poisonous are the same people that are out there at the weekend, like fucking shoveling gear up their nose, like and fucking smoking fucking weed that they've bought off a gangster. You know what I mean? Not shit they've grown themselves in the back garden that they know. Now weed that's been sprayed with
natural, man.
Weed that's been sprayed with pesticides and glass and fucking all kinds of shit. And they're fucking sitting there smoking weed covered in pesticide, sniffing coke that's been cut with rat poison, going, it's fucking, or ketamine, even worse. That's the hippie fucking shit. And then fucking telling people that 5G is poisonous. I'm like, really, mate? Really, is that what you fucking think? So yeah, so any conspiracy theorist
it's a bad indication when the general public, who are normally, well, you know how stupid the general public are, but when the people start giving a platform to David Icke again, you know things have gone wrong when they start sharing his videos, going, David Icke's talking a lot of sense right now. You know things are seriously hitting the fan.
Like when I find talking a lot of sense, you know.
Well, like when I used to use when I used to use drugs a long time ago. I mean, David Icke's been. I mean, I remember because I'm old enough.
You remember him on Wogan, don't you?
Yeah, I remember it. I watched it. Fucking David Icke coming out in a purple shell suit on Wogan, going, I am the son of God. Fucking people are lizard, like the fucking prime minister's a lizard.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, ah! He used to be a goalkeeper for Hereford, you fucking cunt. So he was a goalkeeper, and then he got a job as a pundit. He was working for the BBC, like on Match of the Day or whatever. And he was like a normal dude, like doing his you know. But like you say, can you imagine? It's like all of a sudden, like fucking, you know, like Martin Keown stopped doing Match of the Day and fucking started going, I'm the son of God. Everyone would be like, what the fuck are you on about, you daft cunt? And
I think that's the problem is with the millennials and the younger audience that see David Icke now talking about stuff, and he is very charismatic, and he does have some things he says do make a little bit of sense. They don't know all the history and the stuff that he used to say from years ago, do they?
But this is it. What you've just said is the fucking key to the issue. Some of the things that he says are very close to the truth. Yeah. You know, so he talks about certain subjects, and like you say, he's eloquent. You know, he
almost explains
stuff very well,
and he's a good salesman, and he can sell his idea. So, like, you know, he'd be like, yeah, well, you know, these particular towers, they have this kind of radiation, and he makes it sound like a plausible thing, and you're like, oh, like, so any dickhead who wants to believe, you know, it's like a religion, isn't it? You know, if someone desperately needs but wants that belief in what they've got, they're like, oh, okay, like, yeah, it sounds plausible. But then, you know, it's like the religion, isn't it? So I'm like, so you say that what he says is the truth, and they go, yeah, and you go like, didn't he say that the Queen's a fucking lizard? And they go, oh yeah, but not that part.
Yeah.
No, it's exactly like your religion. You're totally right, Andy. And like, I fucking blame the church or the various churches for all of this. Not like believe whatever the fuck you want, you know. If you want to believe in your Jesus or your Muhammad or whatever your shit and all that fuck, but all of these different churches, all of these religions have for fucking thousands of years encouraged people to believe without proof.
Yeah.
And then we're fucking surprised because people haven't got a fucking clue what's going on, and people will believe any old shit if it sounds a bit clever.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, you know, bearing in mind again, you know, back in the day, it was like, you know, hundreds of years ago, there was one smart dude in the village, and everyone else was an illiterate fucking shit farmer. The one dude that had left the village and learned how to read came back, and he was like, I am God's messenger. And they go, oh, really? What does God say? And he goes, you've got to give God's messenger your money. So literally anyone who is involved in any kind of conspiracy theory, and if anyone shares a video on social media and the headline says, watch this video before it gets deleted. Fuck off.
Do you know what, right? And stuff like that it's become a marketing tactic. It's because I run my own business, like a really, really fucking small PT business. So you start studying marketing things, and you've got all of these other fucking dudes out there telling you, oh yeah, you have to create like a desire and a want by taking it away, you know. So that before it gets deleted, that you see on all of these videos, it's fucking marketing tactic. People go, oh shit, it's going to actually fucking get deleted. I better fucking watch it, you know?
Yeah, it creates
so you can put out an offer. And this is the thing I don't understand on that, is like, it can't get deleted. Once something is on the internet, It can't disappear. It might leave YouTube, but it'll be on Daily Motion. It might leave Daily Motion, but it'll be on fucking somewhere else. You cannot get rid of anything once it's on the internet.
Oh, people are, yeah, and but that's it, because, you know, certain things, you know, they're obviously, like, if someone posts a picture on, you know, on Facebook of, you know, some bird with her tits out, it will get deleted. So, you know, Facebook do delete things from Facebook that do break the rules. Now, obviously, they then take it to the nth degree, where they start deleting things because they count it as like harassment or bullying and all that fucking snowflake bullshit, right? So yes, certain things do get deleted from social media, and then again, that tiny little bit of truth, they then propagate that and twist it, and they go, oh, they're going to delete this because it's the truth. Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates. Oh, yeah, and anybody, Bill Gates, that fucking, like, Bill Gates is a fucking billionaire that spends bazillions of pounds on charity and saving fucking poor kids and whatever.
Bastard.
When did Bill Gates become Dr. Evil?
Yeah.
Like that. I mean, they're fucking mental, absolutely mental. So yes, so anybody that shares anything to do with conspiracies is the cunt of the week. That means you fucking cunts. However, there were two very, very funny things that happened, and there were videos that got shared on social media. So these are as the result of the lockdown, but they're not directly lockdown related. So number one, did you see the video of that little prick kid in Gosport fucking mouthing off to the Sainsbury's staff?
Oh, was this the guy that nutted him?
No, I've got that one next. Okay. So there was these two kids, it was like Asda or Sainsbury's or whatever, and they'd been in, and they were like fucking, I mean, I'm talking kids. This kid was like 12, and his mate was like 13 or 14, and they'd been kicked out the shop, and they were like going, yeah, I'll come back and cut you up, fam. And like, you're like, you're from Portsmouth, you fucking prick. Why are you speaking like that, for a start? And this kid was giving it the fucking Bertie Big Spuds, telling the girl he was going to playing the gangster, and he said, I'm going to come back with a knife and cut your throat and all this, and then picked up his bike and rode off on his like all big gangsters do.
It's bullshit. Everybody knows there's only one gangster from Gosport, right?
Exactly. We know.
No names.
No names. Just used to all good warriors. And anyway, so someone videoed it, shared it on the local Facebook page. The kid's dad saw it and dragged him back to the shop the next day and made him apologise to the staff. And the little kid's outside going, I'm really very sorry, miss. I shouldn't have done such a thing. And he's going, and fucking what? Tell him what? And the kid's, I'm not very tough. And he's going, you're not a fucking... Like this. Fucking ironed out by his dad. It was the scariest thing I've ever seen. Like I say, this kid the day before was like, I'm going to cut you up. And then the next day he's like, yes, Mrs. Patterson. No, Mrs. Patterson. Like, fucking hilarious. And then the other one was the one that you brought up, Joe, was so there was some kid was again got ejected from a shop or something, and he was outside giving it the large, and he was like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And he said to this dude who happened to be Scottish, he said, I'm going to fuck you up. And the dude obviously felt, I mean, the kid was quite tall. He was probably, 18, 19 or whatever. But, just a fucking retarded fucking kid, thought he was some kind of fucking gangster. He's like, I'm going to fucking do this. And the geezer stuck the fucking nut on him, with a headbutt, right? And then he's fucking started pissing blood. And he's gone, oh, yeah, now see what happens. I'm going to come back and cut you up. And I'm like, well, why don't you do something now, mate? I used to fucking, like, when you work on the door, I used to hate that when people go, I'm going to come back and fuck you up. And I'm going to be like, but we're both here now. Like I'm here
now. Just do it. Just right now.
I'm here now. You're here now. What else do you need? So if you go away and come back, then you'll be there and I'll be there. What would be the difference between then and now? Do it now. They're like, I don't want to do it now.
The old hold me back crew are fucking fantastic, and like,
oh yeah. So
the French were infamous for it, man. Living over in France was fucking. It was fantastic stuff for that. I'm gonna fuck you up, hold me back shit. It was amazing, and you would sit there. I'd be sat there with other English, Irish, Australian lads. We'd all be sitting there going, "Do you reckon these lads are ever gonna fight?" Nah, never gonna fucking happen. And they would honestly spend fucking 1 to 2 hours threatening each other, like screaming fucking abuse at each other while their mates hold them back with zero intention of actually throwing a fucking dig, man.
Well, absolute fannies, absolute fannies. So yes, that he was an absolute fanny, and he got nutted for his troubles. So there was one other. So the other news story which came up, which was a bit of a reach, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. So the one of the only news stories on the Google News page that didn't have anything to do with the corona or the lockdown or whatever, but it's got here. The moment the paramedics treat man high on monkey dust who stabbed a police dog.
So, there is so much fucking happening in that headline. That's unbelievable.
Exactly. I mean, like, there's a lot of stuff there. So it says there's a little video which obviously I can't. I'm not technical enough to fucking be able to put up and thingy. But if you go onto
if you share your screen, it will come up.
Oh, fuck, I don't know, mate. Let's fucking not worry about that right now. We'll work that fuck. Right. So it's got here. This is the moment medics help a man who had been tasered and handcuffed after stabbing a police dog in a drug-fueled rampage. So basically, right, I again, as someone who is a former fucking absolute savage when it comes to drugs, even I didn't know what monkey dust was. So basically, I had to look.
Have you ever gone on a drug-fueled rampage, though?
I have been on several drug-fueled rampages, yeah. But, you know, I used to do proper drugs like cocaine, you know, like these
drugs.
These weird these weird. Anyway, so this drug monkey dust, it's a bit like that methadone. It's one of those formerly legal highs. It's like a synthetic, like amphetamine, and it basically causes hallucinations and paranoia and numbs. It says here it numbs the sensation of feeling pain. So basically, just sends you into a fucking absolute paranoid frenzy, and you don't feel anything. So yeah, so this I mean, the only sad thing about it is it actually happened last year. It says here the shocking footage taken last July. It's basically, there's a new series showing that how paramedics or like the lives of the ambulance service are put into threat by the people that they try and help. So basically, the old Bill fucking CS gassed and fucking tasered this fella, and then they handcuffed him and put him on the ground, and then the medics were still trying to treat him, and obviously it shows that the medics were doing a fantastic job, which obviously they're certainly to be commended. But yeah. So, but he did. He's fucking he got a couple of years in jail, this fella, because apparently, like, stabbing a police dog is basically the same as stabbing a policeman. But yeah, he fucking they set the dog on him, and he had a broken bottle, and he tried to fucking. He tried to stab the fucking dog, and yeah, he caused some injuries to the dog. So yeah, so the only thing that was on the fucking news file today that wasn't fucking corona related was indeed the guy high on fucking drugs stabbing a police dog. We're glad
a year ago
sent down. And yeah, and just like.
So what you're saying is basically the coronavirus has ruined the news.
Well, exactly. There's a distinct lack of fucking absolute mental news stories that are on there, which is a bit disappointing.
Could you imagine, like, if somebody was trying to film, like, have I got news for you during this whole thing? Have I got news for you? No.
Have I got news for you? Well, there's one subject. Yeah. I mean, me personally, I don't watch normal telly, and I try and avoid newspapers. Basically all of my news updates come from social media. So like, I don't watch, like, I only watch Netflix or Amazon Prime.
Same as myself.
TV. Yeah, it fucking drives me insane. And I don't buy newspapers either. They're fucking full of shit. So yeah, so it's I try and avoid it as much as possible. But one thing I did see there today, so basically the UK government, so the horse bolted like 2 months ago, and now they've decided to shut the stable door. So they've decided to announce that anyone arriving in the UK is going to be subject to a 14-day quarantine. I'm like, well, number one, like you think, oh, what they're going to do? Fucking, what they're going to do? They're going to fucking
lock them up somewhere.
Come up somewhere for 14 days. No, they're just like, if you turn up, they're going to go, coming into the UK, are you? Yeah. So
you have to stay at home for 14 days.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's it.
Now, come on, now, behave yourself, lads. 2 weeks, right? 2 whole fucking weeks.
Do you promise not to go anywhere?
So how are people arriving in the UK? Are flights not fucking cancelled and shit?
No. It's
apparently they're still going. Yeah.
Fucking tens of thousands of people a day still arriving in the country. And the thing is right, imagine this, right? So imagine you land at Heathrow and you're going to travel by public transport, right?
Yeah.
So like, you've got to go into quarantine for the next 14 days. You're like, okay, where have I got to go into quarantine? Well, where do you live? Okay, well, I live in Essex. Okay, and you're at Heathrow Airport. Okay, so I'm going to go downstairs and get on the Heathrow Express and then go to Paddington. I'm going to get off in Paddington, one of the busiest train stations in the world, and I'm then going to get on the tube. And then I'm going to travel on the underground system where it's nice and warm and all of the germs will be spread around with the wind. And then I'm going to get off there and I'm going to get on a train to take me into Essex. And then, so basically...
then quarantine myself.
Then I'm going to lock myself away and not to see anything.
First of all, before I lock myself in for 2 weeks, I've got to go and get loads of supplies. So I need to pop to the supermarket.
Of course, you're not away for 2 weeks. You need fucking food and gargle and stuff,
Well, you know what? Like, someone I know who shall remain nameless, but they're just to reassure our listeners, they are not based in England. All right. They're not based in Ireland as well either, Drock, so you're safe. So yeah, this person, so a friend of mine, not based in England, said to me that their friend has tested positive for the coronavirus. They're a frontline worker. Yeah. So they work in care. And they've tested positive for corona. I was like, all right, so they locked themselves away. They're like, well, no, they went down the shops yesterday to get their shopping. I'm like, you fucking what? I was like, you fucking what? I mean, like, look, am I being as strict as possible with the lockdown? I mean, like 99% yes. I mean, I've been a pretty good boy about it. But, let me tell you one thing. If I was to fucking, fucking actually test positive, I would fucking definitely not go out.
Big time. I mean, what the fuck? As it is, I haven't tested positive, showing those symptoms or anything, and nobody living around here has, or in my family, but I'm still being fucking careful about where I'm going.
Yeah.
You go, you do your shopping that 1 day a week, keep your fucking social distancing and stuff. But somebody that has actually tested positive and is fucking off down the shops, what the fuck?
Fucking mental. So yeah, like I say, that is a warning. So this is why, if you want to stay safe, you better stay indoors. So, and don't stab police dogs and don't sniff monkey dust. Yeah. Okay, so next, our final section. Okay, and as always, remember, guys, if you want to contact us for any reason, you can telephone or text us on 07510 954 793. You can email us on theoilcheck@hotmail.com, and you can contact us on any form of social media at The Oil Check. That's Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at The Oil Check. And so our final section of this fantastic Rona special is MMA and shit.
MMA and shit.
So we have only two things to talk about with MMA and shit. So
there can't be too many right now, right?
Exactly. Very much there. So the first one, which was in my opinion a massive pile of horse shit, Well, it was something that was quite special.
Oh, is it the private island? Is it the private island?
No. That's no. But did you see the video of Mike Tyson hitting pads?
Do you know what? Like, Mike Tyson hitting pads at 50 whatever years old he is scary as fuck to a layman.
Yeah.
Somebody who is not a heavyweight professional boxer, that dude would still fuck us up. He'd fuck you up. He'd fuck me up. There is no doubt about it.
Fuck all three of us up at the same time.
Yeah, without breaking a sweat, mate.
Yeah.
Without breaking a fucking sweat.
However,
but that's it. Like, that's one, it's hitting pads, himself. And two, there is no fucking way at 53 years old that his body can put up with the punishment that a heavyweight boxer fucking does.
Exactly. Now, you know, he has, I mean, because he was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and if you heard what he said that he didn't like training anymore because he's now such a fucking weed smoker. He basically smokes fucking 9 fucking ounces of weed a day, and he's obviously the smoking all the weed just makes him a proper chilled out fucking stoned like, you know, absolute.
Yeah, he's totally turned his fucking life around. Like, the dude used to be the angriest fucker on the planet. Yeah, he's totally chill and he's cool. And whenever see, like, when he's talking about stuff, he's so positive and he's a completely different person to what he was back in the day, you know?
Exactly. So, you know, to go back to then that aggressiveness is I don't think it's a positive thing for him. But, you know, everyone's raging about it. Would I like to see it? You know, am I going to watch it? Of course.
Of course you fucking will.
Am I going to watch it? And they're talking about some rugby player from New Zealand.
Nobody likes the fucking idea of somebody crashing their car, but if it fucking happens on the side of the road, you're going to slow down and watch it. Because fucking head rolls down there, you know?
Exactly. Now they offered him $1 million to fight some rugby player from New Zealand who's like 30.
Sonny Bill Williams. So, like, Sonny Bill Williams is a solid boxer.
Oh, is he?
Like, he's had, I think, 7 pro fights and won them all.
All right. Okay.
You know, and,
I mean, levels to the game. What do you reckon? Like, do you reckon? I mean, like you say, I mean, you know, Tyson could still come back and, you know, outside the top 20, you know, he'd probably still give most people a run for their money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like, I've only seen one of Sonny Bill's fights, like, and he's a solid boxer. I'm not going to put him in there as a contender for the fucking heavyweight championship or anything like that. But from a purely entertainment point of view, if I don't give a fuck about either of their health, I'd watch it.
Now, there was also something very funny. So there was a fake Twitter account. So the owner, the guy in charge of that bare knuckle boxing organization in America, the one where Artem fought Paulie Malignaggi.
Yeah.
So there's a fake Twitter account under his name, and he said that he'd signed up Mike Tyson, and him and Shannon Briggs had agreed to fight each other for £20 million. So I don't know if Shannon Briggs shared it. So whether Shannon Briggs is being trolled or whether he actually knows it's bullshit, because again, you know, Shannon Briggs in the last 4 years has called out every fucking boxer walking the planet. He's gone up to every heavyweight boxer on the planet in MMA, in fucking boxing, in bare knuckle, and he's gone, yeah, let's fight, let's go champ, and had how many fights? 0.
He called out Mark Godbeer a couple of weeks ago, didn't he?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's calling out Mark Godbeer, who's
a couple of weeks back,
who's the heavyweight champion of all, of 2 of the major bare knuckle divisions, and soon to be hopefully the 3rd. Who Mark Godbeer, former guest on the Oil Check, and I'm like, fucking don't worry about it. I said he's quite happy to call people out, but he's fucking absolutely he hasn't had a fight in 4 years. So he's quite happy to walk around the fucking going, let's go, champ. And then when someone's like, okay, then he's like, oh, well, no, I'm basically. So, yeah. So anyway, so basically the bare knuckle boxing world has been trolled to fuck because the amount of news sites, or in fact, all of the media have been trolled to fuck because the amount of different articles that were written about Mike Tyson fighting Shannon Briggs in bare knuckle boxing flooded flooded my fucking social media timelines yesterday.
That
And
would be the worst thing ever. Like, just for that to happen would be fucking horrific.
oh, and like Shannon Briggs would get killed. But yeah, so yeah, fuck them. And yeah, so if you believe that is about to happen, then you're an absolute fucking idiot. So finally, the main.
Right, so I should like
the main.
log on Ticketmaster now, should I?
That's it. Yeah, I wouldn't bother. So basically, the main reason that we have got the podcast on today and brought you on, Darragh, is obviously UFC 249. So after the threat of Fight Island, yeah, and after the threat of putting on events in the Native American land and stuff like that, you know, basically, Dana White was like the petulant child. Like they're like, you got to cancel all events. He's like, I'm not fucking canceling.
But Dana White has always been the petulant child. That's his whole personality. He is like, this is not new. Anybody who was shocked by Dana White's behavior has never seen, heard of, met. Is not aware of who Dana White is. This is what he does. He's like, fuck that shit. I'm doing what I want to do.
I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And then, like, basically, he's like, we're going to do this. And they're like, no, you can't do that. And he's like, well, we're going to do this. And then we're going to put it on Native American land. We're going to have an island. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And then eventually, it was the fucking head of ESPN rang him up and just went, yeah, shut the fuck up, will you, mate?
Look, you don't know I'm fucking paying you. Stop.
Exactly. So just prove, you know, everybo's got a boss and everyone has to fucking do as they're told sometimes.
Even Dana White.
Even Dana White. So yeah, so that was quite funny. But eventually he's pulled it off. So obviously the lockdown regulations in Florida have been relaxed somewhat. I mean, there's certain parts of America, like Arizona, for example. Like Arizona is like the hottest place in the world. And so the average daily temperature gets above like 110 degrees. Yeah. So like the disease gets killed off at like 90 degrees or whatever. So they're like, well, we don't give a fuck. We'll just go about our daily business because nothing can fucking, you know, what if you're in a place where it's too hot to survive, then they're talking about all of the baseball games and all of the basketball games all being played in Arizona next season. So, because like I say, they can just play the games there and fucking not have any worries. Obviously, without.
I hope that's true and that shit works and that the coronavirus doesn't spread just because of the temperatures.
So Dana White is like, oh, don't worry, we're going to put the event on in Florida and we're going to test everyone and da 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 da. And lo and behold, what's happened?
Jacare got
tested positive. Now, you know, there's an article there which was, they said that, you know, there's 300 people involved in the event. And in the last 4 days, they have administered 1,200 tests on those 300 people. So every single one of those 300 people has been tested
4 times
daily. And the only person that's failed the test is Jacare and his 2 cornermen.
Right, but like what I was reading earlier on is that Jacare, he failed the test, but they knew since like last week that somebody in his family had already tested positive. And Dana just said, yeah, like just socially isolate yourself. And he still let Jacare, while they were waiting for the test results, let him come in and be part of the event.
Well,
yeah, he was in close communication with other people there, wasn't he? So that's the big worry now.
Well, look, I haven't looked into it that deeply, but if that is the truth, then he's a fucking idiot because he's going to spoil it. The thing about it is this can go one or two ways. You can look at it the positive way, and you can go, well, the protocols that they put in place have worked, and you know, out of the 300 people that were there, one of them was bound to test positive sooner or later. So he's under 50. He's in the prime state of physical fitness. The chances of the disease actually affecting him in any way are probably very, 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 very small.
I wouldn't be like, right. I mean, yeah,
It's not about that,
probably
though, is
not
it?
die from it, Andy. But there's you know David Pierre-Louis, the French jiu-jitsu guy.
I think so. Yeah.
That guy with dreads. Anyway, he put up a post about a month ago because apparently he got it. He got the coronavirus, survived it. He didn't die, great. But he put out and like describing it, and it's like the worst fucking pain he's ever been in his life, and it's constant.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, the thing
Like,
is, it affects different people in different ways, doesn't it? Like I say, this person that like the friend of a friend I know, they've been oh, Joe's disappeared.
Yeah, sorry, I've just got to let my cat out of the bedroom. Hang on.
Ah, you fucking faggot. So this person who I know who's been diagnosed, it's not that I know personally, but the person who I've been told, they've got absolutely no symptoms whatsoever. So I think it's just, it affects different people in different ways. But look, either way, like I say, or what's going to happen is that every cunt who's there, all 300 of these people are going to end up testing positive within the week. And then some of them are then going to go back to their families and infect their families, and they're going to go and infect someone, and they're going to go and infect someone.
That's the issue. What's going
to happen is in 2 weeks' time, someone somewhere is going to drop down dead, and they're going to relate that back to the UFC.
Yeah, and like that's a scary thought, and like it's scary for the UFC, but it kind of puts everyone else kind of in context as well, because if that shit can happen at that UFC where there were 300 people there, where they were being tested like 4 times a day or every day or whatever the fuck it was, and still that shit happened.
Well, exactly. So only time will tell. But like you say, it certainly doesn't look like. I mean, as at this time, so it's 5 to 6 on the Saturday. As far as we're all aware, the event is still going ahead. I don't think there's anything going to stop it from going ahead right now. And the reason I'm like, look, if we look at the card, so I'm having a look at the fucking card here, and the card is pretty fucking sexy. So
it is, it's fucking solid. Like
it's a good card.
So we'll start from the bottom up. So the first fight on the card is Ryan Spann versus Sam Alvey. Now, Ryan Spann, don't know too much about him. That's Sam Alvey. He's got a fairly decent record. He's 33 wins and 13 losses, 1 no contest. So he's been around the block. Team Quest. So he's a wrestler, but he is coming off. He's on 3 losses at the moment. But he's been in the UFC for a long time. So he's
he was back. He was one of the original tough guys, or one of the first 2 or 3 seasons of The Ultimate Fighter. Like giant fucking red-headed bloke. He looked like just a fucking massive leprechaun, Yeah, hard as fucking nails.
Yeah, he fought on The Ultimate Fighter season 16. And he actually fought, I'm just having a quick look at his record here. So his first fight in the UFC, he fought Tom Watson. So
right. I remember that fight, yeah.
Yeah, UK's Tom Watson. So I mean, like, he had a fairly solid record before that. He was in King of the Cage, Bellator, and he got, he beat like Carl Amasu. He's got some fairly decent names on his record. But yeah, like came up against, so lost his first fight in the UFC against Tom Watson, and he's had a bit of a, he's not had the greatest, but a fairly salty record, but enough to keep him in there. So then he had 3 wins, then 2 losses. He went up against Derek Brunson and Elias Theodorou. Then he had 4 wins, including one over Nate Marquardt. Then he lost against Tiales Letters, but then he beat Rashad Evans on a split decision. I'm not a big fan of Rashad, but he was a hard motherfucker.
He's a quality fighter, like whatever you think about, but he has skills. Like Rashad Evans, ridiculously explosive, good wrestler, good boxer.
So, and then he's had a loss, 2 wins, and then he's 3 losses in a row at the moment. So if he loses this, then he's fucked basically. And one of those losses was to Little Nog. So he's fought some proper tough people. So this Ryan Spann, 17-5. He came in through the Dana White's Contender Series, and he's on a 3-fight win streak. So at this particular moment in time, looking at the record and the age and what have you, I would probably, even though I don't know that much about either of them, I'm probably going to go with Ryan Spann on that one, because like I say, he's got the momentum, he's younger, he's won all 3 fights in the UFC, and then before that, so in total he's on a 7-fight win streak, and he's a big lad as well, 6'5" for a light heavyweight. That's
fucking hell. That is a big lad for a light heavyweight, even because I mean the big light heavyweights are guys like John Jones and Gustafsson. Yeah. They're 6'2" and 3. 6'5" is fucking huge for a light heavyweight. Yeah. But on top of what you're saying, yeah, he's on a 3-fight win streak, but also he's probably being managed pretty smart. It seems like he's being managed pretty smart. So he's being brought in to beat Sam Alvey.
Yeah. So that'll be like another scalp on his record, yeah. So yeah, probably we'll go for that Ryan Spann on that. Then we've got the next fight on the card is Charles Rosa versus Bryce Mitchell. Now, Bryce Mitchell is that young lad. He's 12-0. He was the one that won by Twister on that show December. So he said he'd never trained it before, and the only reason he fucking knew how to do it is because he'd watched one of Eddie Bravo's videos. Now,
that's right, yeah.
On the side note, Darragh,
you and I were witness to the very first Twister in an MMA fight.
Yes, we were. So you and I was the MC, and you were commentating in Cage Warriors in Barnsley when Gerald Strabent twisted Dave Elliott. And it was the very first time a twister had ever been used in MMA. And you and I were there that night. So look at that. That's a segue into a bit of history there for us.
He used to be somebody.
He used to be somebody. He'd been there and done it. And did you know that Gerald Strabent got sent to prison for attempted murder?
I heard that, and I heard some other worse things than that. So let's not talk too much about Gerald Strabent.
Yeah, okay. So that Bryce Mitchell, 12-0. That Charles Rosa, again, I don't really know much about him. Boston Strong, he calls himself. He is, again, bit of a recent salty record. He's been in the UFC for quite a long, but he got beat by Dennis Seaver in 2000. So he must have got an injury or something. So he's been in the UFC since 2014. Yeah. So his first fight was against Dennis Seaver. So he's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he's had 6 fights in the UFC in 6 years. That's a bit weird. So he fought in 2014, October 2014. Then he won in 2015, January. Then he lost against Yair Rodriguez, June 2015. Then January 2016, he won. So, they are also fairly recent, sensible sort of times. But then he went over a year without fighting. He went from January 2016 to April 2017, and then he took a loss against Shane Burgos. And then again, it was nearly, would have been 18 months. He went until he got a win against Manny Bermudez. And that was October of last year. So not a very, very active guy. So probably quite prone to injury, a bit of ring rust, etc. And like I say, if you're taking losses to like the likes of Dennis Seaver, I mean, Dennis Seaver was a good European fighter, but by no means was he, world-class UFC.
Oh, but that's 6 years ago. That was his first fight, Exactly. First fight in the UFC, they're like octagon nerves are a real thing. A lot of people don't perform in their first fight in the UFC.
So, but yeah, like I say, I mean, bit of ring rust there. I don't know. I mean, it's like I say, I don't know much about the guy, but the thing is again, being biased as fuck, I quite like that young Bryce Mitchell guy. He seems like to have a bit about him, so I'd like him to win. Let's hope that he fucking brings it up. So next up on the card is Vincent Luque versus Nico Price. So that Vincent Luque, he was doing some big things, and then he took a loss. His last fight was a loss to Wonderboy. which Wonder Boy was coming back off his loss. But then, before that, he beat Mike Perry, who's, certainly no easy fight.
Did you see that fight with Mike Perry?
I think I did. To be honest, it's one of those ones I can't recall immediately.
I kind of stopped watching MMA for a while and then got back into it. And I got back into it quite recently. And one of the fighters that reminded me how much I love this sport was Vincent Luque, because he's just fucking hard as nails. And the fight with Mike Perry, they just beat the piss out of each other. It's unbelievable, man.
Yeah. Fight of the night of that show, that was.
He did take a loss to the UK's Leon Edwards. And that was back in 2017. But, so he's been in the UFC for quite a while. He was in Ultimate Fighter 21. So he's been in the UFC since 2015, so nearly 5 years. And he's got a fairly reasonable record in that time. So he's had 3 losses, 3 losses, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So he's had 9 wins and 3 losses in that time. So he's coming off a loss. Every time he's come off a loss, he's had a win afterwards. He's never had 2 losses in a row. I think that the level of competition he's been fighting, that Nico Price, I'm just having a quick look. So he's 14-3, beat James Vick in his last fight, but again, bit of a salty record there recently. And he has already fought Vincent Luque and lost to him in 2017.
Yeah, he's going to lose again.
Yeah, so I think that's I think we're going to go with Vincent Luque on that one. Now, stepping up to the females, we've got Carla Esparza versus my future ex-wife Michelle Waterson, the karate hottie.
Yours as well. Fuck me, she's going to do the rounds.
Yeah, so Carla Esparza, if you have a look at their records, the thing about it is obviously the pool of talent within the female division is obviously a lot smaller. So they basically all fought each other like a bazillion times before. All of their opponents are sort of common opponents.
Yeah.
But Michelle Waterson was doing some big things. Her last fight was a decision loss to Joanna Jędrzejczyk. But before that, she beat that Carolina that Carolina girl, Kowalix.
Yeah. Carla Esparza was, I think, in that division, she was the first champion.
Yeah.
But then immediately got beaten by Joanna.
Yeah.
She was good. She's good. She's a good wrestler. She's a tough all-round fighter. But Michelle Waterson, she's more complete. She's definitely a better striker. And I think at this point, because like you said, she's been doing some big things, and I know she was training a lot with Paige Van Zandt, and
she trains out of Jackson.
I think as a fighter,
she trains out of Jackson's.
There you go. Which in itself, it's a fucking champion factory. Jackson's is amazing.
So she beat Felice Herrig, which is again my future ex-wife. How dare she? She lost to Tisha Torres, Rose Namajunas, no shame there. And she beat Paige Van Zandt, my other future ex-wife. How fucking dare she? But yeah, again, beat Jessica Penneck, back in Invicta. So she's got some solid names on her record, and she's doing big things. And like I say, she got that title. She was on the run up to the title. But then obviously, took that loss against Joanna, which was a 5-round fight. Went the distance, and going.
More important question though, Andy, is what's going to happen when all of your ex-wives find themselves in the same together?
Well, we'll just throw some jelly on them and see what happens. So I think that's a fairly even fight. Carla Esparza versus Michelle Waterson. But yeah, I would, based upon their recent record, I would probably go with karate hottie
I'm going with the karate hottie every time. Especially, like, I would go with her every time anyway, but in this particular fight, I think she might actually win as well.
Yeah. So now we're stepping into this is where the card gets really interesting. So they've obviously pulled out all of the stops. So back from the shall we call it a holiday, was Fabricio Verdum is fighting that Alexei Olenek. So obviously Fabricio Verdum, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the top
fucking legends of the sport.
Top 5 heavyweight of all time, former champion, and former person to hold up a sign saying Dushman is a cunt at UFC 80. So obviously we do love him for that. But, he needs no introduction.
It gets mentioned every time he fights as well, doesn't it? For some reason.
Absolutely. And also, do you know who fought him to a draw? Bit of trivia for you here.
In MMA or in grappling?
Yeah, in MMA. Do you know who fought him to a draw in MMA in 2002 in the UK? By that silence.
James Zikic.
Yes!
Trivia, bitches.
My good friend James Zikic. So James, he actually fought Tengus as well, who we mentioned earlier on. So in 2002, Millennium Brawl, he was obviously brought over here by Andy Jardine, and he beat Tengus with a triangle, and then he fought James Zikic, and they went 3 rounds. So that was back in 2002.
That was a really solid fight as well. I remember that. That was one of those Millennium Brawls up in the arsehole of nowhere there, where Andy used to hold these shows.
It's probably High Wycombe. Let me have a quick look. High Wycombe Judo Centre. Yeah. And on that same card was the likes of Lee Murray, Michael Johnson, Lars Bassand, Mark Day, Tengus, we've already said, Dave McLaughlin, Chin Weir Singh, Jean Silva versus Alex Reed, Alex Evans, Phil Gildier, Andy Cooper. Do you remember
Andy? The legend Cooper, the man that turned up to every show with a gum shield just in case a fight broke out.
Yeah, Andy Cooper was fucking savage. Fought Gaz Roriston and then Neil McLeod, Ricky Moore. I mean, that card was the who's who of fucking UK MMA.
UK MMA at the time. And you remember, like, Andy Cooper, the amount of shows that he would turn up with, and, like, he told me this himself, that he would, even when he went to shows and he wasn't on the card, he always brought a bag with a gum shield and training gear in it, or whatever, fight gear in it, just in case. And the amount of times that he accepted a fight at the last minute and won was fucking phenomenal.
Well, do you remember on Cage Warriors 5 in Newcastle when he fought twice? He fought Jenkins and he fought, I think it was Abdul Muhammad as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's fucking right.
And it was like, basically,
both of them were hard fucks.
He's turned up and they've gone, we're a fucking welterweight short for this fight. And he's gone, don't worry, I'll do that one as well. And
you mad bastard, off you fucking head.
He was fucking absolutely savage.
Yeah, absolute savage.
So, look, Fabricio Verdum, top 5 heavyweight of all time. He, former UFC champion, fought everyone, beaten most people. Yeah. So, and his last fight was a loss, and that was in 2018. So he's been off for a couple of years with an allegation, an alleged failed steroid test.
Brazilians failing a steroid test.
Yeah, so I mean, it all just. I don't know. If it depends who turns up. It depends on how that 2 years has treated him. Ring rust, etc. So but that, I mean, technically on paper, that I don't think that Alexei Olenek is as good. He's recently he lost to Overeem and Walt Harris, whereas those are the kind of people that Fabricio Verdum had put away. He's lost to Curtis Blades. But, you know, he beat Mark Hunt, beat Travis Brown. You know, so he has got some big names on his record.
Alexei Olenok is, from what I remember, I don't know him that well, but I know he's a ridiculously explosive fighter. So he's somebody that I think he can finish any fight really early.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and like he you know, he did have his most recent fight was a win, and that was only a couple of months ago. So he fought in January and he won. So he's in shape. You know, there's no ring rust there, and Verdum's coming back off a 2-year break. Who knows how that will go? So to be honest, I'm probably going to sit on the fence on that one. You know, just purely from a biased perspective, I'd like Fabricio Verdum to win because I am a big fan. But you know, that could go either way. So this is all. Bearing in mind, this is still the prelims. This isn't even the main card yet.
Fabricio Verdum is in the fucking prelims. That guy has headlined so many fucking shows.
Yeah, man. So the main event of the prelims is Donald Cerrone versus Anthony Pettis. So obviously, Cerrone.
I'm really looking forward to this fight.
Yeah, me too. I'm a big Cowboy fan, and obviously, Cowboy's coming off 3 losses. Lost to McGregor, lost to Gethegi, lost to Tony Ferguson. You know, they're all obviously top of the tree. Before that, you know, he beat Iaquinta, Alex Hernandez, and Mike Perry. You know, he's, you know, look, Cowboy's Cowboy. You know, turns up and fights. Some days he's the best in the world. Some days he is the typical, you know, sometimes you're the hammer, sometimes you're the nail. And, you know, Pettis, former world champion in Strikeforce, I think it was.
He came in and like he had a bit of a poor period, but he came back Pettis there recently and won a few fights, and he's fucking nails as well. Like he's on form as well. I think it's going to be an amazing fight because both of them bring the fight every single time.
Yeah. It should be a stand-up war. Should be a stand-up war. The chances of either of them trying to take the other one down are probably very, very slim indeed. So, you know, Pettis is coming off a couple of losses, the same as Cowboy, so they're both fucking desperate and hungry. Obviously, Pettis did have that win against Thompson. Superman Punch Thompson was the first person to do that. Lost against Tony Ferguson, but beat Michael Chiesa by submission, which again, you know, Michael Chiesa is the fucking submission master. So
he's solid, yeah.
He beat
this is a loser leaves town match. Like both of them coming off 2 or 3 losses. Whoever loses, and especially given that both of them are kind of the older school sort of thing.
Yeah.
Could be looking at the end of their careers, you know.
To be honest, if it wasn't either one of them, I would probably agree with you. I think Cowboy could probably lose 1,000 fights and they wouldn't get rid of him because everyone loves him. But, you know, again, just for pure bias purposes, I'm going to go with Cowboy on this one because I've got big man love for Cowboy. But, you know, logic dictates that fight could go either way, and it could very well turn out to be fight of the night. I
would definitely go for fight of the night on that. If those lads don't leave with at least one bonus, I'd be very fucking surprised.
Yeah.
As for who's going to win, depends on which Cowboy turns up. Cowboy didn't turn up against McGregor, and he said it himself that he just didn't feel the fight. He said like 5 minutes beforehand, he wasn't feeling it at all. The whole day beforehand, he was like, what the fuck?
I don't think that matters. I just think that, to be honest, as much as I love Cowboy Cerrone, he's not world class. You know what I mean? He's like, every time he's come, if you look at his record, every time he's come up against someone who's world class, he's lost. So, you know, look, I mean, his last 3 fights, lost to McGregor, lost to Justin Gethegi, lost to Tony Ferguson, and I don't even think Justin Gethegi's that good. We're going to talk about that in a minute. You know, and he's lost. Lost to Darren Till, lost to Leon Edwards, lost to Robbie Lawler, lost to Jorge Masvidal. You know, don't get me wrong, he has beat some people, but again, lost to.
We're going to have to define world class here. Like, Cowboy is world class. There's no fucking argument about that. Now, is he sort of top 5? Maybe not. Maybe he's not world champion class. Again, we're going to have to define world class on this. But
not world class is the wrong word. World champion level. So
okay,
he's fair. Never going to.
Yeah, I mean, being in the UFC means you're world class, doesn't it? Yeah. I think.
But what I mean, he's never going to
be exactly, Joe. Well done.
UFC champion. Yeah. So anyway, like I say, don't get me. But that being said, he's still one of my favourite fighters, and I still want him to win. But that could go either way. So then it brings us on to the main card. So we've got Greg Hardy, the NFL woman beater, fighting someone called Jorgen De Castro. Now I know fuck all about this Jorgen De Castro, but he is 6-0 from Cape Verde, and he's had one fight in the UFC that he's won by knockout. He was there the Dana White's Contender Series. So he's yeah, I mean his build up. Let me have a quick look. So these fights that he was fighting to get into the UFC, these were in America. So he's from Cape Verde, but he lives in America. So he was 4-0. Then he went up to Dana White's Contender Series, and now he's had one win by stoppage in October of last year. And then, like I say, Greg Hardy, former NFL player, household name, and well-known woman beater. I think that they want him to win. This is probably a gimme win for him, really. He did fight at Alexander Volkov on very short notice and went the distance, which was very surprising. But his only other loss technically is by disqualification. But he was losing that fight, and he fucking went out the pussy's way out. But
it sounds like they want him to win, all right.
Yeah.
Why on earth they would want a known fucking wife beater to win? But from a pure press point of view, I can't figure that out.
Yeah, but he was a very, very famous NFL player before he went, and then he bashed his missus up and got banned from the NFL, and then they've taken him in the UFC. Now, by all accounts, he has kind of changed his ways. By all accounts, he trains out of American Top Team, and there are people that I know that are training out of American Top Team who says he's quite a nice bloke. Now, I don't know the fella. He bashed his missus up. I'm never going to meet him, but it's basically the UFC want him to win because they reckon that he's going to bring eyeballs to the sport. So we're probably going to see Greg Hardy win by knockout in that one.
Sounds like it, yeah.
Yeah. Next fight on the card: Jeremy Stephens versus Calvin Kattar. Now that Calvin Kattar, his last fight was a loss to Zabit. But they reckon that if that fight had gone 5 rounds, he probably would have won. And his only other recent loss, again, was in 2018. Before that, he was on a bit of a tear, and he's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fights in the UFC. So he's 4-2 in the UFC, and he beat Chris Fishgold, the UK's Chris Fishgold, and he beat Ricardo Lamas. So that Calvin Kattar puts on a big pace, and he's got cardio for days. But Jeremy Stephens is also a very, very well known and
Jeremy Stephens is what he is. He's hard as nails. He's a great all round fighter with fucking incredible striking.
But he has got a very salty record. But he has if you see it, it is because he has, the people he's fought are very, very high up.
Absolutely.
I've never been a bit of a fan, and it is again a proper bias thing. But ever since he got mugged off by Conor at the press conference, and he was, who the fuck is that guy? He's always looked like a bit of a melt. But if you go back, I mean, he's been in the UFC. Do you know how long he's been in the UFC?
Long time.
God, it's got to be pushing 10 years now, is it?
Over 10 years. His first UFC fight was in 2007. So UFC 76. So he's been in the UFC for 13 years. So
wow. You don't want to be saying shit like that, because that just reminds you and me of how old we fucking are.
So during that time, he has had, let me have a quick look. Where are we? Right. So I know, in fact, it was before that. It was UFC 71. He had a loss, and then he went away and he came back. Fucking hell. So he fought Din Thomas May the 26th, 2007, lost, then went away and fought in another organisation and then won and came back again. And then he's been in the UFC ever since. So
I remember that fight with Din Thomas, and Jeremy Stephens came in and he was this fucking striker extraordinaire, and Din Thomas was a fucking. So in fact, that fight happened on the internet, because your man was fucking calling out Dean Thomas the whole time. You remember Dean Thomas, like he was the fucking nails striker, and I'm pretty sure he won by spinning back fists.
Yeah. Well, I'm just counting up 15. He's had 31 fights, 32 fights in the UFC. So that's a fairly fucking decent career. But you know, he's very, very salty on the record there. So he's had, out of those 32 fights, he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So yeah, 50-50. He's had 32 fights, and he's had 15 wins, 15 wins, 16 losses, and 1 no contest. But right. You know, so he's like, you know, but if you look, like he's beat Henan Barao, he's beat Gilbert Melendez, he's beat that Do Ho Choi, that Korean kid, beat John Emmett. You know, obviously, you know, but he's fought like Aldo, lost to him, beat Yair Rodriguez, lost to Frankie Edgar, lost to Max Holloway. You know,
so his losses are only to the top guys in his division. Like he's Cowboy number 2. Like.
Yeah. I mean, he's like absolute savage, and yeah. So I mean, I think this is your typical sort of old guard dog up against the young up and comer. So this Calvin Kattar, he's 32. Jeremy Stevens, he's only 33. Jeremy Stevens, that's quite a surprise. So I don't know.
No, because when he came into the UFC, he was young as fuck.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm almost surprised he's in his 30s. Like.
Yeah, well, if he's been in the UFC for 30, that means he was 19 when he signed for the UFC. That's fucking, I mean, that's pretty special, isn't it? So, but, I mean, based on recent records, I would probably say that probably Calvin Kattar is going to win. But, again, you know, if you're going to look for fight of the night, that's probably it.
So, actually, no, I don't think that's going to be the fight of the night. But that fight right there, Stevens is serving as a gatekeeper. They're saying, all right, Kattar, he's good, but is he good enough to be the top guy? So they're throwing him in against Stevens. If you beat Stevens, we'll start looking at you fighting towards the championship.
Yeah. You're very analytical there from a manager's point of view, Drock. Like that's it. You're like, I'm just looking at who's going to beat the fuck out of who. You're like, why?
That's my thing, you know. I mean, it's all about, and we know that UFC is set up that way. It's like you bring them in, you give them a couple of easy fights, and then you go, okay, right, this guy's good, and then you start testing them, and there's gates to get by, and in some ways it's sad because you've got guys like Cowboy who used to be a contender.
Yeah.
Now a gatekeeper.
Yeah, absolutely. So we will see what happens there, but I think that it's probably lined up that Calvin Kattar's probably looking to win that.
Yeah.
I would like
to win that if he wants to go to the next level.
He seems like quite exciting and all that, but you know, again, Jeremy Stevens is no mug. Now, the next one is the battle of the massive black dudes. So we've got Francis Ngannou versus Jairzinho Rozenstruik. So
this is actually the easiest fight to call on this card.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay, carry on. I'm listening.
So they both fought Overeem, and Ngannou knocked him the fuck out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, so did the other bloke. Yeah. At the end, after getting beaten the shit out of for 3 rounds, like Ngannou went after Overeem and knocked the shit out of him, whereas Jairzinho got beat up for 3 rounds and then stood up and threw a single dig that hit Overeem's diminishing chin, because Overeem is getting older and his chin is not what it used to be.
Well, it was his lip, wasn't it? He's fucking split his face open.
Yeah.
From someone that's recently had their face caved in, it's not a pleasant experience. So yeah, I mean, look, you know, the record. You know, he beat Andrei Arlovsky, but you know, again, that's gatekeeper. And then there's no other real big names on his record. But you know, again, I think that, to be honest, I think they're doing with him what they did with Ngannou. So you know, they've got this real big fucking scary looking black dude that's banging the fuck out of people left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
And rushing them through to try and make something of them. And that's what they did with Francis. You know, Francis came in and, you know, Francis came in and was knocking people out left, right, and centre. And then all of a sudden they were like, hey, look, here's fucking Stipe. And then he came up against Stipe Miocic. And Stipe was like, yeah, cool story, mate. Let me show you what it's like when I drag you into the deep water and smash the fuck out of you. So yeah, anybody that does.
And then for about 2 fights, Francis lost his balls.
Yeah.
Like,
so lost against Stipe. And then lost
the fight after Stipe Miocic, 2 or 3 fights, Francis, he was hesitant. He just stood back the whole time. He didn't fight anymore.
Yeah.
And it just looked like he'd lost his balls. But he's come back. And he's doing quite well these days.
Well, that was it. So what you're saying. So that next fight against Derek Lewis was the worst fight in UFC history. Where
it was horrible.
Lewis just stood there fucking doing. And then anyways, then he's come back. He knocked out Curtis Blades in the first round, knocked out Cain Velasquez in the first round, and then knocked out Junior Dos Santos in the first round.
Fucking hell.
I mean, so I think we're definitely going to see, you know, see Francis Ngannou definitely win that. And I think so Francis Ngannou is going to win this, and then he's going to be in line for a title. So obviously they're talking about Daniel Cormier is trying to get Stipe to fight again for a trilogy fight for the title again. And then obviously the winner of that would then probably go on to fight Francis on the basis that he wins this. So the idea would probably, I don't know, you know.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so I would definitely. I personally think that, you know, Francis Ngannou has got a UFC title, attached to him at some point in the future, and he's only 33 years old. So from a heavyweight perspective, you know, he's got a good 10 years left in him yet.
10 years is a bit of an exaggeration. Like there's a couple of guys who have fought until 42, 43. 5 years is probably more realistic.
But either way, at some point in the next 5 years, I definitely think you're going to see Francis Ngannou with a UFC belt around his waist. So we're going to go Francis Ngannou by knockout for that particular fight. Now, one that's going to be tough to call is the penultimate fight on the card is Henry Cejudo versus Dominic Cruz. Now, me personally, I'm not a big fan of Henry Cejudo. That he's an absolute savage, and he's he's a champion, 2 divisions.
Do you want my head or my heart on this one?
Well, give us both. You tell me. So, you're probably going to say the same thing as me.
Yeah, it sounds like it. All right. Henry Cejudo beat the best fighter on the planet, and that's Mighty Mouse. Mighty Mouse was the best fighter on the planet, pound for pound. Absolutely, Demetrius Johnson, the fucking best fighter on the planet. People talk about Anderson Silva, George St. Pierre and all that because they don't understand how good Mighty Mouse was. And Henry Cejudo beat him just because his wrestling is that fucking good, and he evolved that much that he beat him. But I'd really like to see Dominic Cruz win.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Dominic Cruz. So again, you know, like heart definitely with Dominic Cruz, head definitely with Henry Cejudo. I think Henry Cejudo tries too fucking hard. Yeah, he's trying to be. He's a poor man's Colby Covington. You know, Colby Covington is the heel, and he fucking chats shit, and everyone fucking hates him. And Henry Cejudo's tried to follow that and tried to step in and be the heel of that division. And he chats shit, and he tries to be provocative and controversial. And everyone just looks at him and just goes, you're a bit of a fucking bellend, mate. Like everyone with like...
he's all clean cut, all American with his pretty hair, and he just looks like the high school fucking preppy and stuff.
Yeah, fucking... So like I say, I think Henry Cejudo is probably going to win, but I prefer Dominic Cruz. You know, Dominic Cruz. Dominic Cruz, very cerebral guy, smart guy. If you listen to him as an analyst, he's a fantastic commentator.
Yeah, he still has incredible footwork and
his footwork's amazing. If you listen to him break things down, and his wrestling's fantastic. But you know, I just think Henry Cejudo's, you know, technically too good for him.
I think that's, yeah, no, I agree. It's going to come in. Plus, you know, he's that much younger and he's so explosive, physically impressive that, unfortunately, I think he's probably going to win.
Well, I mean, you know, Dominic Cruz says he doesn't believe in ring rust, and we have seen him take big breaks and then come back. But, you know, if he actually hasn't fought for 3 and a bit years. So
this isn't a question of ring rust. It's a question of passing of the torch from one generation to the other. And Dominic Cruz is at the end of an amazing career.
Yeah.
And going to be replaced, unfortunately, by a guy that's at the beginning of his.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, Dominic Cruz, his first pro fight was in 2005. His only losses have been to Uriah Faber in 2007, which is in the WEC. And then he went all the way till 2016 when he lost a decision to Cody Garbrandt. So it was, you know, if you have a look...
In what sport can you fight for 15 years and still be at the top of the sport?
Yeah, exactly. So like I say, I would like to see Dominic Cruz win, but I don't think he's going to. Now, final fight, our main event. So, Tony Ferguson versus Justin Gaethje. So, what are you saying there, Drock?
No, it's Ferguson all the way. Like, Gaethje is explosive, Gaethje is a good fighter and all that, but Ferguson is fucking amazing.
Yeah, that's what, like, I keep saying on social media this week, a lot of people have been backing Gaethje, and I'm like, nah, mate, it's levels to this game. There's levels. And if
but what people are backing Gaethje, like, are we talking about fighters and people that have known the sport and know bits, people that train and know how complex the sport is, or are we talking about people that believe the UFC hype?
Yeah, probably that. But I mean, if you actually have a look, so Justin Gaethje, you know, he was world champion in World Series of Fighting, which, you know, is obviously a lesser pool of talent. And then he came over from the World Series of Fighting, and he beat Michael Johnson. But then he came unstuck against Eddie Alvarez and came unstuck against Dustin Poirier. So the two people that are, you know, world champion level. Eddie Alvarez and Dustin Poirier, who he's fought, he lost. Beat James Vick, beat Edson Barboza, beat Donald Cerrone. So again, they're good scalps, you know. But he's not. If you have a look at Tony Ferguson's record, Tony Ferguson has beat everybody, and he's on a massive win streak. So,
yeah, but there's more than just that. It's not just that he has beat everybody. Yeah, he has beat everybody. It's fucking amazing. But his fighting style, he gets better at every single fight, and he's unorthodox. And at one point earlier on his career, he wasn't as complete as he is today. But like, he's not just complete; it's that he introduces new aspects of fighting to what he does. Like, he's amazing. He really is. You know, there's two fights I want to see. Is Tony Ferguson against Khabib, that everybody wants to see, and against Conor McGregor.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's it. You know, it's Khabib, him, and Conor, which are the, you know, that's the, you know, the triumvirate of the, you know, the world, like, you know, the top tier, upper echelons of the division. You know, but if you have a look, you know, everyone that's fought Tony Ferguson has come away with their face caved in. You know, he's just, and the thing about it is technically, you know, he's technically, supposedly, his speciality is ground fighting. You know, he's a phenomenal black belt under Eddie Bravo. So, you know, his 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu is next level. But, you know, if you listen to Eddie Bravo talk about him, you know, he's that kind of guy that'll be like, you know, when training's finished, he'll stand there and hit the heavy bag for 2 hours and then he does all kinds of weird stuff. like, you know, he goes and does parkour training and goes and does other kind of athletic endeavors.
And it comes down to like what we've seen in all sports. We've seen it in MMA. We've seen it in all sports. Is that the guys that just do more, that train harder than everybody else, end up being champions.
Yeah. Well, that's what they said about David Beckham, wasn't it? You know, David Beckham used to stay behind after training and hit free kicks for an extra hour every single day. And lo and behold,
we could talk about like an actual man in Johnny Wilkinson. I don't know about this football shit. Like Johnny Wilkinson would stay and he would stand and he'd kick balls, not at the goal.
I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah,
men's sports.
Yeah, so look, I'm with you there all the way, Drock. Yeah, 100%. I expect Tony Ferguson to get the job done, and to get the job done I expect him to finish Justin Gethegi probably round 3, round 4, something like that. You know, everyone's just because Justin Gethegi he's a great wrestler, but he doesn't use his wrestling. But you know, it's going to be a stand-up war, and Justin Gethegi will probably have his moments in the first round, maybe even the second round. But you know, Ferguson gets stronger as the fight goes on, and you know, round 3, round 4, that's where you're going to see Ferguson stepping it up a gear and really, really putting the pressure on, and you're going to see him putting it.
Has he fought 5 rounds before?
No, not that I'm aware. Hold on. No, the longest he's gone. No, he's never. The furthest he's ever gone in a fight was round 4, and that was a loss. That was where he lost against Dustin Poirier. So,
that says a lot right there. Is that the one time he's gone over 3 rounds, he's lost.
Yeah.
And we know Ferguson has cardio, has power for days. He just keeps going. He's a fucking monster in the 4th and 5th rounds.
Yeah. Well, exactly. That's it. And you know, like you say, he gets stronger for like rounds 3, 4, and 5. He gets stronger and stronger and stronger. So yeah, I'm 100% with Tony Ferguson there all the way. So that's our card broken down for UFC 249. So that's it. Essentially, that's it for MMA and shit today. So just want to say a massive thanks to you, Drock, who has now decided this. What are you drinking there now, mate?
Actually, I'm not sure what I'm drinking right now. So I wanted to ask you this question, right? So my wife went in to see the next door neighbors that are Spanish or Spanish speaking. They may be Mexican, I don't know. And she brought me this back and she says, you have to drink it slowly.
Yeah.
Now, you lived in like Spain for a bit, didn't you?
Yeah, I lived in Spain for 5 years, yeah.
So it's dark, it's a little bit aniseedy. Maybe you can help.
I don't know, mate. It could be like if it's Mexican. I genuinely don't know. Bearing in mind, I used to be a fucking lager lout. There was where I used to live in Andalusia. They used to do a thing. They used to call it pochín, which not like the Irish pochín, but there was
like real pochín, like.
Yeah. No, it wasn't like that. But there was a spirit. They used to, I can't remember what it was actually called, but that's what they used to call it. But they do a lot of fucking weird things in Spain. But yeah, it was like I say, I was a lager lout, mate, so it was never something that I used to step in for. So, Darragh, tell our viewers where they can find you on social media. What's your Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, anything like that?
Yeah, I do Facebook and Instagram. It's Darragh Creamer is my personal one, and then Darragh Creamer PT or Drock Strength and Conditioning is my business one, because I do a little bit of personal training, which is the same on Instagram. Darragh Creamer on Instagram. I'm not complicated.
Okay, and so if anybody you in Dublin these days, aren't you?
I'm in Navan, about a half an hour north of Dublin.
Okay, so if anyone's in Ireland and wants to get some strength training, get in contact with you there, and they can come and get beasted by you and find out what it's all about.
It'd be great crack either way.
Okay, so once again, if you want to contact the oil check, you can do it by telephone or text on 07510 954 793. You can email us on theoilcheck@hotmail.com, all forms of social media at The Oil Check. And me personally, I'm Twitter at Andy Sledge, Instagram at Andy.Sledge, and obviously Facebook Andy Sledge. And Joe, what are your handles there?
Yeah, just Facebook Joe Penneck and Joe Penneck at on Twitter. I'm not on Instagram.
Well, you are.
Well, I have an account apparently. I keep getting people following me, but I don't use it, so there's nothing on there to look at.
It came up the other day. People you may know. I was like, "Fuck that bitch."
I think sometimes on Facebook when you want to see something, and if it's on Instagram, you can't see it. So I think it sort of set me up with an account. So
they own each other. Like Facebook owns everything these days. Facebook owns Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, they're all the same. So
exactly, yeah. So I think it set me up an account, but there's no pictures on there, and I don't follow anyone. So,
well, listen, guys. To be honest, we've gone on a lot longer than we expected, but that's no problem at all. So we're gonna have a nice one for everyone to watch. So I'm gonna get this uploaded as soon as humanly possible, and then we can share the link out on all of our social medias. So I just want to say a big thanks to you, Darragh, for stepping in and coming.
Yeah, I wore your favorite T-shirt just for you, like.
Absolutely. Look at that. That's fucking awesome. And obviously, once again, as always, big thank you to my partner in crime there, Mr. Joe Penneck, the technical wizard of the Oil Check. And obviously, big thanks to me, because I'm fucking awesome. So this is the Oil Check signing off, and we're going to be back on Wednesday for the next UFC on Wednesday. So we'll see you later. Keep fingering those arseholes and keep calling people cunts, and we'll see you later.